All right, let's do it live on a Thursday edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. I am merely Bo, the great Kevin Stefanski to my left in Z's seat. Good to see you, buddy.
Is this Z's seat?
That's his seat, yeah.
I'm keeping it warm for him.
Keeping it warm. Well, and he's going to need that a little bit. Good to see you, man.
Great to see you. Yeah, great to be with you guys.
Funny, as I'm walking in today, I see like the cars lined up and guys going to cars. And you've seen Dazed and Confused.
Yep.
It was a little bit like that. Like
it's the engines are running. Yeah, it's getaway day in the NFL.
I imagine you like the football coach in that, like yelling at Randall Pink Floyd about make sure you get your head in your notebook and all of that.
There were a lot of make sures from me this morning. Make sure you do this. Make sure you do that.
I think for fans, you think of the NFL season as training camp through the Super Bowl. And then, we have these moments. You got the draft, you got free agency, combine, where the folks are locked into it. But in terms of the work of it, that's it. You guys have been at work here for a while now. Did you get done what you wanted to get done?
We did. Yeah, I'll tell you what. I was very impressed, have been impressed with this group of guys. They're working like crazy, whether it's what we're doing in the weight room with them, what we're doing in the meeting rooms, out on the field. I have not gotten pushback from anybody. I mean, it's a really good group. And listen, every single year, as we all know, these teams are different. 2025 team's totally different than the team before. Of course, there's guys that are a part of both. But, these guys are they understand the work that needs to be put in. And man, it's been impressive to watch.
Every single guy that we've had come through here who's a veteran has – without any sort of differing, talked about the different tone that they've noticed here. How conscious were you about making that, and what is that for the fans? What does that mean when they say that?
Well, I mean, we won 3 games last year, so you better have a different tone is the way I look at it. And you come off of last year and you reflect and you think about things that we absolutely have to do differently. And ultimately it starts right with me. And there are things that I have to provide this football team. And that can be in schematic ways. That can be in ways we do things, who we ask to do what. It's really all of the above. So I hope it feels different. It better because we understand what's in front of us.
You're laying building blocks now for next season. Those hopefully the foundation has been laid, and then you'll build upon it when you get to training camp. Obviously, much has been made and talked about what you're offensively getting back to what you're maybe most comfortable in. But at the same time, you're going to take different parts of everything. As you've gone about reinstalling or getting back to that, how much is it different than what we were doing 2 years ago, and what did you borrow? And I know you're somebody who's always evolving.
Yeah, well, if you're not evolving, you're dead in this league because the defensive coaches, the defensive players are too good to just stay the same and continue to do it one way. I mean, all the great schemes, I don't care, offense or defense, that you evolve every single year. Sometimes you evolve in season, and you can see, and sometimes it's easy to perceive it, sometimes it's not. But there are definitely things that we will do more of. There are definitely things we'll do less of. But to say that we're just going back and dusting off a playbook and saying, hey, let's run this, I just don't think that works in this league. So we're very, very fortunate to have a group of offensive coaches that worked very hard in putting a system together, because ultimately it comes down to putting together a sound system that has breadth to it, so that depending on your players, you can move into different directions. And I think that's the charge that we have, is to maximize our players and our key players in what we're doing. So that's what we've tried to do this offseason. Now, you don't know exactly what that's going to look like come training camp, but you at least want to install a system, teach the guys a system that has the ability to pivot into a bunch of different areas.
How much of a shot in the arm was it to have this many rookies? I've never seen a rookie minicamp like the one you guys had a couple of weeks ago, but we had like 60 guys here.
Yeah, it's interesting. That's how it used to be done in the NFL. You used to have really an open tryout, quote unquote, and you had a lot of guys that were local players. You'd have as many D3, 1AA kids locally that could drive, just so that you could field a full football team. So you'd have your draft picks, your undrafted guys, and then a bunch of tryout guys. And I've said this before, but Adam Thielen was a tryout guy for us. We signed him from Mankato State University for the weekend. He impressed, and guess what? He's still doing it. So there are guys that impressed in that weekend for us and are still here. So we really liked that experience of having a full boat of practice. We had 7-on-7 and team, and it just gave us an opportunity to really evaluate more players.
Very unique this camp too, and this OTAs and this mini camp too, with the fact that you have the 4 quarterbacks in there and you're going through those reps and you're running through all of that. When did you guys start thinking about the plan for this? Obviously, I think you knew, and I think AB said this. He said this last night at an event I was at with him last night about how, look, we knew we were going to have a rookie quarterback. Didn't probably think we were necessarily going to have two.
Right.
We knew we were going to have one. And so reps are so critical. This isn't 1978 Bear Bryant 6-hour practices. So, like, you guys got a short amount of time to get a lot done. When did you start kind of architecting out that plan?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think going back to the spring, knowing you're going to have a young quarterback, how do you maximize those reps? And like you said, it's not Bear Bryant. You can't practice. There are limits to the amount of time you can be out there. So tried to get creative, having Tommy Rees on staff coming from college recently, Mike Bloomgren on staff coming from college recently. These college rosters are 100 players plus. So that the two-spot, quote-unquote, that thing, the two-spot where you have the same plays being run on simultaneously on different fields, that's nothing new for college. It's harder to pull off in the pros just on the roster limitations, but obviously not impossible. So we just tried to be real smart about how we did that. What you don't want to do is have two practices going on, 100 plays, and asking your guys to run down the field 50 yards each time. Then you're going to have cost, and now there's going to be injuries. And I thought the way it was designed, and I think Tommy and the offensive staff, and certainly Jim and the defensive staff, were really creative about how they got their work done.
Tommy with the two rookies, he just is out of that world a couple of years ago. I have to imagine that was right up his wheelhouse.
It is. I think Tommy played the position in college, has coached it, has a great comfort level in that. You have Coach Musgrave, who played the position in college, played in the pros, has been a coordinator. So you have those two guys in that quarterback room to provide great counsel, and our guys that have done it at a high level. And certainly when you have young players that you're trying to develop and teach, there's just no shortage of knowledge that can come from the room, whether it be from the veterans in the room or the coaches in the room.
The sliding scale that you use at that position, because obviously what you're asking the young guys to do is a little different than what for example, Joe can do.
Right.
So, and yet the reps are the reps, and they're finite. How do you, as you guys go to make this decision by the time you get to camp, how do you create sameness throughout for all four of them, if you know what I'm getting at there,
Sure.
so that you have a true litmus test?
Yeah, I think that's something we talked a lot about prior to putting together the plan. And obviously there's that old saying, you treat everybody fairly but not the same. It's related to that. You know that there's guys that need to get X number of reps. There's guys that don't. I mean, Joe is 40 years old, has seen a lot of football, has played a lot of football. He does not need as many reps as the young guys do. So tried to be smart where we can still give Joe an opportunity to get better, an opportunity to be evaluated, while also maybe shifting a few of those reps to the younger guys, and then mixing it up throughout. We had multiple guys in there at multiple spots, and that's kind of the way we've looked at doing business here the last 3 weeks with 9 practices, where we just want to see a lot of these guys in a bunch of different situations.
Talk about the two young guys quickly here. Dylan, yes, it was yesterday. He's a play-action wizard, man. He's really smooth with the ball. He hides it well. He rolls out well. He throws on the run well. And then we had a chance to talk to him at the golf outing. You see what made you guys fall in love with him the way that you did in the draft. How has it been for him over the last month?
Yeah, I think the play-action piece is a good observation, Bo, where he's got really great ability to ball handle, to put the ball out on a play action when it looks like the run, pulls it back, it's the pass. There's a lot of skill to that. Now, he's been coached really well in college, and I give him credit and his coaches credit for that, but there's a lot of nuance to that play action game, and he's trying to master it, and he's putting in the work. And he's a young player still coming along. He's played a lot of football, and that's true. But this NFL game, there's things that are different, and he's really going to school. At times we call this quarterback school. There's a curriculum to this, and how we bring a young player along. And there's no short way to do it. I wish I could press a button and say, "Hey, you guys got this," and that's just doesn't exist in this game. It's just a lot of meetings, a lot of practice, and then a lot of film to teach off of. And the beauty of it is, our quarterbacks are learning from every rep, even if they're not getting the rep. So if you're in there, great, you got the rep, you got it physically in the moment. You can make those corrections in your brain with that Pentium processor. If you didn't get the rep, you can sit in the meeting room and you can kind of put yourself in the shoes of the other player and get that rep mentally. So we've done a lot of that over the last few weeks.
Just an anecdote for our audience. Dylan joined Nathan and I at the golf outing he just kind of came on set. We were doing the show live, and he just came on, and we didn't really introduce or anything. He just started talking. He was great, very natural. I saw him last night at the event with AB, and he came up, and I didn't even introduce myself to him. There was none of that. And he said, "Good to see you again, Mr. Bishop."
Yeah.
And I thought, I'm a radio guy. You don't need to know who I am.
Yeah.
But the fact that those little things, and I've heard that throughout the building, that those type of things, that's a pattern of behavior for him that's very consistent.
Yeah, I think, everybody talked about it. We talked about it. Certainly when you're at 3 schools, you have to assimilate yourself to those 3 places. You got to get to know everybody, I think a lot of us can think of that first day at school, whether it's in high school or at college, you're meeting new people. You got to get to know your classmates. Well, same idea. You got to get to know your teammates. And he did that really at 3 different stops. And it's very interesting. And I'm sure we've talked about this is, in the old days, if somebody transferred twice, you'd be like, "Oh, what's wrong? What happened?" And now guys are transferring for some pretty good reasons. I can't get mad at them. And that could be if a coach is leaving. It could be for an opportunity. So what that then allows you to do is it allows you to go through that process of getting to know your teammates, getting to know a system, et cetera, et cetera. So I think there's great value in that. So that does not surprise me, Mr. Bishop.
Now I feel old. I know I'm older than you, but that's too much. Shedeur, you guys got to know him very well in the process. You've got to know him a lot better here in the last month. Obviously, when you are who he is and everybody knows who you are and has known who you are since you were probably 15, 16, there's something that's to that. But his teammates gravitate to him quite a bit. What have you learned about him over the last month?
I don't know that we've learned anything new because, like you mentioned, I feel like we have a great feel for this young man. He's a very, very hard worker. He has fun when he's in the building. I'm enjoying watching him progress with every single meeting, with every single rep. He's doing a great job. And I think as a young player, I don't care what position you're playing, you're going to run a play or you're going to get something wrong. That's so valuable because then you get to correct it, get it right the next time. And he's doing a really, really nice job. I think he's showing up early. He's staying late. And he continues to get better every single day, and that's the fun part. But just having him in the meeting room brings a great personality in there. It's fun to have. I sit right behind him. Joe is to my left, to Shedeur's left, and to see those two bounce ideas off of each other is hilarious. Joe will say a few things, and I'll be like, Joe, Shedeur wasn't born. He wasn't born then. So it's just he's got great energy, great kid, working his tail off, and he's playing really well too.
I told it to our audience. There's a great story in yahoo.com for our audience that tells kind of the story about how this quarterback, because it's really a great room. They're very supportive. There was an instance yesterday with Sher and Joe like going over something and Joe kind of mimicking, this is what I do on this. Like those type of things are happening every day here. It's really cool how it's all kind of come together and worked.
Yeah, I've been so lucky in my career to be in some really awesome rooms. And this one's up there just with these guys pushing each other but supporting each other, having the diversity of thought, experience, just all of the above has been great. And listen, this is we all take this job very seriously. Mm-hmm. We want to win. We want to work our tails off, but these guys also want to have fun, and they do have fun in that room, and I think it's a credit to all those personalities. I
know you're not going to give me a straight answer on this, but in your head, I'll happen to try to ask it in a way to see if we can get a little bit of an answer. In your head, do you have like a date where you're like, by then we need to have this kind of locked in terms of pecking order, starter, all that?
Yeah, I think that's fair. Obviously, we've approached this offseason with a different mindset where we're trying to be very much in evaluation mode and see different guys. I think once you get back to training camp, it evolves as in terms of what your mentality is and what you're trying to accomplish. So there are dates that I kind of have placeholders on where we're going to make some decisions. Certainly get into some of the games. I mean, the fun part is we get 3 games to get live reps with these guys, and that's also something that's hard to replicate in practice. We'll have a practice versus Carolina. We'll have 2 practices versus Philly. Those will be valuable as well. But there's definitely the idea that our mentality will change once we get to a certain point in July and August.
When you talk about those joint practices, has the groundwork been laid in terms, because those reps are so valuable? Did you lay groundwork for that in terms of that position over the last couple of weeks?
We have, and that was something really with Carolina, with Coach Canales, with Philly, with Coach Sirianni. We've had conversations going back months ago, that in terms of the structure of practice. So it'll be great work for both sides. And certainly, again, it goes back to the previous question. We'd love to be out there for 3-4 hours.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we're not allowed to, but we'll get plenty of good work with those guys over those 2 weeks.
You guys have a big night tonight. This is year 2. Incredible success last night. Night out by the lake, of course. The Keepers Foundation, your foundation that you started. It was a stunning success last year. What will folks? Obviously, it's already locked in terms of folks going there tonight. But there are some online stuff too.
Sure.
What exactly do we have in store for us tonight, Coach?
Well, Bo, I think we're excited. Just year 2. This has been a fun experience for us to have an opportunity to give back to this community. I've told you guys this before. My family and myself have been treated so well by this community. This is such a great Northeast Ohio and this community in general. Just they're constantly looking to give back, and that's something that is near and dear to my heart, to my family's heart. In this organization, the work that Dee and Jimmy do in the community is unbelievable. So there's a great model of how to do that. So this is year 2 for our Keepers Foundation. We have our night out tonight, which is the big event, and Nathan's coming out of paternity leave to join us.
He's on no sleep, from what I've been told. Yep. Give him a shot of adrenaline, Coach.
That's a good idea. But it's going to be a fun night with a bunch of players down there, food, drink, live auction. The silent auction is available to anybody, so you can go on right now, check it out. You can go through Brown's Social, I believe. There's some links out there, keepersfoundation.org as well. There's some really unique silent auction items that we better work fast if you want to get your hands on some of those.
So just an idea, these are all some of the notes I have for silent auction. Step in the huddle, VIP experience, that's a win. I do have one question on the football.
I know where you're going with this.
The fairway. So, yes. Okay, up to 6 people, 18 holes on the Browns golf. We have a simulator here, golf simulator in here. How did Zagura get in on that?
Well, how did Zagura get in? Here's how we got in on that. I played in the charity golf outing, and Nathan was kind enough to join us for a par 4 that he drove the green.
That's right.
And so I said, all right, Nathan, you're definitely part of this opportunity. So that one in particular is a fun one. And just for our fans, when we put in the new Performance Center, if you will, here in Berea, which is unbelievable. You'll get a tour of that. But they also were smart enough to put in a golf simulator, which I didn't see till the season ended, I promise.
Yeah.
Okay, it was really close to my office. I was never in there. But then the season ended, and I cannot tell you how many players go in there in the offseason. Joel Bitonio came back for whatever year this is for him. I don't know the number, but there's a percentage that it was because of the golf simulator. He was here on Saturdays.
Yeah.
I'd go in there. I'd come in, go for a workout. I'd peek my head in there, and he's in there typically with Wyatt Teller, Jack Conklin. And what they do is they're playing on the golf simulator, and they all have their kids, their little kids, up against the TV watching Bluey. And there's goldfish everywhere. And basically it was a way like, hey, honey, I'll take the kids, set the kids up on the TV. They go play 18 at God knows where. So that's the world-famous golf simulator here in Berea. So check it out online. You and I believe six total people come join Nathan and I to play some golf on the simulator.
You got a chef's table at Fahrenheit as well that you'll be auctioning off
tonight. Chef Rocco will be there tonight.
Which is awesome. Guardians experience too with batting practice and VIP tickets. Coach, we kind of led this off talking about schools out for the summer. How critical is it for these guys to unplug and recharge, and then for you too? And I'm guessing you have some plans for that this summer as well.
They're confidential.
Yeah, we'll keep them that way.
Yeah, so I told the team this morning, it's 40 days away, and that's very standard across the league. You kind of get 40 days, and it seems like a long time. It also seems like a short amount of time, but my message to the guys today is just charge that battery up because you're going to need it, and you're going to need it because this season – comes at you fast, and it's 17 games plus. It's 3 games in the preseason. If you earn those 3 or 4 games at the end, I mean, this is a long season. I think it's 201 days long. So you have to charge the battery up, and that's not just physically. It is mentally. So all our guys will kind of get away from it for a minute, but then they'll get back into training and get ready to hit the ground running come July.
Coach, it's great to see you. Good luck at the event tonight. And enjoy your summer, buddy. You deserve it.
Appreciate it, Bo. Thanks.
All right, there you go. There's your head coach, Kevin Stefanski, joining us in studio off the top of the show. Play-by-play voice of your Cleveland Browns, Andrew Siciliano, going to join us next. We'll have some copious notes on final mini-camp practice of the summer. That is coming up next. You're listening to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Back in Cleveland Browns Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland. He is the voice of your Cleveland Browns. He's the great Andrew Siciliano. How are you, buddy?
Good day, sir. Tough act to follow there. Good stuff from Coach.
I did it. It was a good job out of me.
Yeah. Well done. Very well done.
How you doing?
I'm okay. School's out for summer, man.
That's what it reminded me of. Wyatt was out there with his family,
Yeah.
and it's just cars stacked up and guys going to cars, and we're driving and we're leaving, we're packed and we're gone. And it reminded me of Dazed and Confused, of like everyone running out and then Coach saying, hey, don't forget your playbook, Randall Pink Floyd,
Yeah.
like that type of thing.
Well, I mean, they had the boxes down there, too. Like, drop
Yeah.
the playbooks off on the way out.
Yeah.
Talked to Brandon Lynch. I don't know if we're going to run that later or some other time, but his son was here because school's out for him. His 14-year-old boy's here. Actually think it's we had alumni down there as well.
Mm-hmm.
One of my, and I know you probably feel this with your boys, is that the idea that you can open the door and have them experience things that and I never experienced.
Yes.
Right? Like,
Yes.
I don't,
Yes.
we're not jaded, but like we've been here. We've done this. We're thankful. We're grateful that this is our job.
Yes.
But to me, like, my heart feels full when I can open the door to the family, right? And so to see people bring their family, it is the last day of school, but the intensity was still good. To me, that's the best part.
I think as a quick offshoot, I think I am very guilty of not doing that enough with mine. I find myself in circumstances like, God, I should have just brought the boys to this. This was so easy for them to do. But you're right. You and I got into this for a reason.
Because we were those
kids, and we loved it. And we loved it. And I wasn't going to play shortstop for the Dodgers or point guard for the
And
Lakers.
I was never going to play second base for the Tribe.
So then it's like, well, what's the next best thing? Well, we'll talk about it. That sounds great. And so with that, I mean, this does become it's a really cool, but just a job for us. And sometimes there are surreal things that happen. I'm like, I should be better about that.
And
so,
you know what? Actually,
good job out of you.
Yeah, because Kevin was here, I'll pull the curtain back. Last year, we were in Washington. That's where my brother and his kids are.
Yeah.
And it was the game against the Commanders that day was my nephew's 10th birthday.
Nice.
So got him down on the field. That was cool. But the night before, he came to the hotel. I do the interview with Coach. So my nephew sat in on that. Kevin was beyond amazing to him. Yeah. He interviewed my nephew more than I interviewed him.
Yeah.
That was fantastic. He gets to meet guys in the lobby on the way back to the garage, right, with his dad, my brother. Like, those moments, like, to see the look on his face, and, again, to see how cool Kevin was with, he's got a boy that age, right? Mm-hmm. Like, that's awesome. That's why we do this.
That's why, yeah, absolutely. And it's why all of you love it. It's because it is escapism. It truly is that. And every once in a while you get to run into some of your heroes in person when it works out. This was the last one. The first two, I think, had a little bit of a different tone to it.
Yeah.
And what was today like from what you took in?
Today was a little bit shorter, but I think it was good to see guys like Sed Tillman and Michael Woods on the field. We had not seen them in the 2 previous days of the mandatory minicamp, so they got some work in. That was good. Flacco got some more reps one day after saying he would like some more reps. I'm not suggesting that was a result of his presser yesterday, but good to see him sling it a little bit as well. I don't want to say disappointing. Look, the assembled media that is there with their phones out, myself included, always trying to get the rookie quarterback videos. You didn't see a lot of Shedeur today. I don't know that he saw his first snap until maybe 15 minutes were left in the session. Mm-hmm. However, he did get a 2-minute drive. He did get some work in. There's one posted now on Brown Social of a nice ball to the sideline to Trey McKitty. Kenny Pickett threw a touchdown to Trey McKitty, the former Charger, in the back of the end zone as well. Just good chance for some final impressions. I thought my takeaways, we got to hear from Mike Bloomgren today for the very first time. You know, remember Joel Bitonio and Westwood Country Club last week called him, not a jerk, but another word.
Yeah.
Same amount of letters. Right. Begins with a D.
Yeah.
Also, well, forget it. You get my point.
Yeah. Yeah.
He said, yeah, I've been called worse, and actually that's one of the more endearing ones. So, like, I like that. And he didn't push back against DeWand saying that, you know, it's really different to play left tackle, but he did say, from a skill set, I think it's the same position. Like, there are intricacies and there are nuances that we have to coach him up on, but he was positive on him. Zach Zinner's getting stronger, positive on Luke Whippler. But just to hear and really to see the smile on his face, we hadn't heard from Bloomgren since he got here. The joy, and I know you know this talking college football so much, and 2 college football coaches, to kind of get away from leading a program and constantly recruiting and fundraising, and to get back to coaching and to see the joy that it's bringing him, and you hear it from the players as well, I'm excited about that O-line room and the run game.
I think
excited.
Yeah, and you could even with Kevin, look, this is his type of team. We've got really good tight ends. We've got a group of really good backs. You got an offensive line that, if everybody can stay healthy, is formidable. And you got quarterbacks who are really comfortable, especially, at what I think it would be and this is my words, not scores or anything. It'd be quite stunning if one of the rookies started the season based on
week 1.
Yeah,
I'd be surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think they'd have to really have an unbelievable training camp to be able to do that. And I think the schedule too. I mean, the schedule is, even if you loved one of them, that's really throwing them off the deep end without a life preserver those first 6 games. So if you do want to see them play, I assume at some point, but it's likely going to be Kenny or Joe, one of those guys, to start this year, and that's the way it's going to go. So yeah, I think all of those things. There is a timeline for all of these things to work themselves out. But I think the one thing all of those quarterbacks do, to bring it back to your offensive line conversation, is they're all very adept in the play action game. They're very good ball handlers. They're very good on the run. They're very good out of structure. When things are broken, they can make things happen, especially the 3 younger guys. It's a lot of the stuff that Kevin wants a quarterback to be.
Yeah, and I think the run, it's really, we heard from Bloomgren and Deuce Staley today, there's so much focus on the quarterbacks here.
Yes.
But if they're not able to run the ball, if they're not able to get back to that old run game, then the quarterback play, it's not irrelevant, quite the opposite.
No.
But you're going to put so much more on those guys' shoulders.
Yeah.
Here, I thought it was telling when Deuce, first question to Deuce was, how does Quinchon look? Good. And he said all the right things. And that I didn't hear the exact follow-up because there were actually 2 podiums going at once. Chad O'Shea was on the other podium talking wide receivers. But the answer from Deuce is what stuck with me. I think the question was something about, I don't know, some kind of conclusions from minicamp, and he said, we have pajamas on. I'm not going to make any conclusions with pajamas on. I'm paraphrasing. I'll call you or ask me again when we're actually wearing armor. And I think that needs to be remembered, not only for his room, but for every position group at the end of minicamp.
Well, and most especially for the one that we talk about the most. Yeah, that's the thing that's tricky about this is there is no – he used the word armor. Fine. It's not pads. It's for these young guys, though, and I think this was what was so critical for Dylan and Q, especially in the backfield. Obviously, Jerome's been here, but we're redoing a new old offense. It's so that when you get here in July, you don't have to – you already have the base. It's built. The foundation is built. You should know what you're doing.
This is install.
It's install. And if you aced it, then July is a much easier proposition. And to your point, it's critical that we run the ball effectively. It is critical that David Njoku and Harold Fannin create mismatches down the field off of play action. Jerry Jeudy goes without saying. It was good to have Cedric Tillman was in the mix. That was notable today as well. Because and you and I talked about this earlier in the week. I do think running back or receiver rather, you're going to be looking to see if there's anybody available this summer.
You're going to be looking. I don't know if that happens right now.
I don't think
that might be let's get us to training camp and see how the first week goes.
Yeah.
Just projecting from what other teams have done in the past. I don't know. Listen, Deontay Johnson is a lottery ticket. He had a nice catch on the sideline today. Brown Social posted that one. Saw that one up close. Yeah, the guy's got it. And I went down the Deontay Johnson rabbit hole on YouTube last night in my hotel room, and you're like, oh, yeah. Look, I'm not talking Steeler Deontay Johnson.
No.
He made plays last year.
He was up to a great start in Carolina.
When Andy Dalton got in there and started ripping it downfield, he showed up.
Yep.
And he made plays. If you could get that guy at a bargain basement price, and he said yesterday, no one else called.
Yep.
There's a reason nobody else called.
Yeah.
But nobody else called. So if you can get him, and then let's stress this as well. If he's not going to rock the boat the entire season, let's put it nicely,
yeah,
right? I mean, that's a find. But do you need somebody else?
I think you do regardless, but I think
you need to backstop that.
That's what I think. Yeah, and you never know how someone is going to respond to being punched in the face.
To a last chance?
Sure. Same thing, right? How are you going to respond when the rest of the league tells you, yeah, we don't need you? and you know that you're still in the prime of your athletic career. You're not that far removed from being a big-time weapon. And even last year, to your point at the beginning of the year, was very good in Carolina. Is he going to – and we don't know him well enough, so I don't know the answer to this. We won't know until you get to September, August, and September. But, like, is he somebody that, wait till you get a load of me? Or is it the defiance? Because that's going to be the key.
To that point, the one time Deontay Johnson, that is, cracked a smile yesterday on the podium was when he was asked about the possibility of facing the Steelers and the Ravens 4 times.
Yeah.
And he cracked a smile, and it wasn't, oh, yeah, looking forward to it. It was, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's...
Yeah. So there's
that. There you go.
Right.
And that's not nothing.
Let's see if that pays
we'll
off.
We'll see.
Right. What is it today? It's June 12th.
Did you you were listening as we talked to Coach here off the top, and I knew that he wouldn't give me a timeline in terms of when he wants to have a guy, but he did say that the work done this month will go a great deal into how they divvy up those reps in those joint practices and all of that. That essentially what I've been saying all along, that all the pieces matter, all of these reps matter. It's all been very well thought out. In your head, and this is reckless speculation, when do you think they need to narrow this thing down?
I'd like to know before the last preseason game, but you also would like the last preseason game to mean something, and I know it will because quarterback is not the only position here in which there is competition. You certainly want to know coming out of that game. I think the thing that I'm most curious about is, and this kind of goes to what we've seen here in the offseason program, is where do those reps come in the games for the rookie quarterbacks?
Yeah.
So obviously everyone hears, well, Dylan's with the 1s and the 2s, and Shador's not really, he's not getting enough of those reps. How does that go come game time? Now, part of that is you need to earn those reps during training camp. They are not gifted to you in the 3 preseason games. But there is going to come a day, a Sunday or a Monday after a game in the preseason, would be a Sunday after the game, in which you go, okay, well, Gabriel did this or Shador did this in the first quarter against maybe the 2s for the Eagles or the Panthers or the Rams. Rams, it'll be the 3s and the 4s and the 5s. But like the other guy did this in the fourth quarter, and is that the same as what we saw in the first quarter? I would hope they would mix it up. Let's say Gabriel plays in the first quarter in one game, and then Shador plays in the first quarter in the next. But you've got to earn those because there is context that will have to be applied to the preseason reps as well.
That speaks to the question I asked him about how do you create a common base layer to judge all of them.
That's a great question.
Because so he has to reverse engineer that in the practice layout. I'm sorry, not reverse it. He needs to engineer it in the way that they set up practice to try to create a constant to judge them all from. And it's very difficult with 4 people in limited time to do so. That's why I keep coming back to there aren't enough reps for you to waste one with 4 guys.
Correct. You could do that
Yeah.
during minicamp. I don't say waste.
Yeah.
But like as we said, it's less significant for Joe.
Yes.
If I had to bet right now, I'm not a betting man. I think it's one of the 2 veterans week 1, like you just said. But one of the 2 rookies could totally go out there and win the job. But it would have to be a knockout.
That's what
Don't we agree?
Oh, I think it's got to be. Yeah, and I think honestly, buddy, I think it has to happen almost right away in camp.
Right away. But if it isn't a knockout,
Yeah.
okay, and one is a good day, one is a bad day, whatever, then do you go to Pickett if he and Flacco are even? What if Flacco and Pickett are even?
Well, then I think you go Pickett.
And is Flacco even going to take a snap in the preseason? Would you? I wouldn't.
If I were based on his comments yesterday, I think he would want to.
He said, yeah, that was the implication.
That I think he wants more.
I don't know that I need to see him in the preseason.
No, probably not. You probably don't. But if you don't see him this is why I think the 4 thing is going to have to get sorted out pretty quickly because it's not. I think you're right. Nobody needs to know who the starter is until final preseason game somewhere around there.
And he's probably not going to announce it until Wednesday of week 1.
Of course. That's
Which
why
is
I knew
fine.
he wouldn't give me an answer. But and nor should he. He shouldn't do that. But I do think that they have to have it pared down much sooner than that.
What Flacco does
Right.
in the joint practices, I'm fascinated to see because I know he's going to get good work in those.
Those are critical. So then also, who gets those reps in the joint practices? How many of those do you spread around how many quarterbacks?
You're going to have multiple fields.
Sure.
So, and against whom
Right.
are those reps?
Right.
Listen, most coaches will tell you these days that the preseason is eventually going to go away, or maybe it gets down to one game, that they get more work done in joint practices than they ever get done in the preseason. The preseason is for the rookies, the third, the fourth string guys, that they go their ones-on-ones and they get their work done, they get their installed, like they actually put the stuff in they don't want people to see. I know at NFL Network for years, we would want to show these joint practices. Some of the coaches would say, all right, you could show stretch, you could show one-on-ones before the joint practices, but when we're doing 11-on-11s, we don't want you to shoot that stuff because that's actually maybe not our week one game plan, don't get me wrong, but that's the real work that we want to get in. So do not, and I know you're not, the Carolina-Philadelphia joint practices, to me, are the most important 3 days of this training camp.
There is no doubt they are. That's why
that's why you're doing two.
This is what I'm going to be looking for when we get to that point, and this is what's going to be very fun because this is why I think they have to have this thing narrowed down much sooner, not necessarily started, but like between these two or, hey, these two and a third, you got to have that sorted out by those because I want, like, where's J.C. Horn? Who's throwing against him? Mm-hmm. That's what I want to know when we get to Carolina. Those choices and who gets the privilege of having those reps, that's the critical work.
And when you're in Philadelphia and you're a rookie quarterback and you're backing away from center and you're extending that ball on a play fake and you're turning around and it's Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter coming at you as opposed to an undrafted rookie on another field who's trying to make the team. There's a big difference there.
Beyond quarterback, and obviously you can't really go beyond it because it's forever there. It's one of those things that you're going to talk about till you have one.
It's one of the top 5 biggest stories in the NFL.
It really
Whether
is.
it should be or not is a different question, but it is, and that's just a fact.
I think it probably should be too, because you and I have talked about this. Z and I have talked about this. I've talked to other folks about it. Nobody can recall a situation quite like this with 4.
Not like this.
Not quite like this. And the other thing is, and Brock Purdy came out of nowhere. He was the last pick in the draft. This is Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur Sanders. I mean, Dylan Gabriel is as successful as any college quarterback. He's on the shortest list of the last 25 years in terms of what was accomplished, the amount he won, statistical accumulation, all of it. And Shedeur Sanders has been a household name for most of his life. So this isn't a quarterback at Northern Iowa who you picked in the 5th round, who nobody had. These are known individuals. These are, by the way, also guys who enriched themselves tremendously playing college football and basically acted like pros while they were at those 2 spots. So, like, that only adds to it. The Flacco part of it adds to it because of how beloved he was here for two years ago for a month in December when he went lights out. And then Pickett's kind of the one that I think sometimes is forgotten, and you shouldn't, because he's right in the middle of it, and he's the first one of all these guys that they went and got.
By the way, Kurt Warner, Northern Iowa, right?
Yes.
Okay. His son, Cade, is a coaching intern here this week. The former K-State wide receiver.
Really?
Yeah,
Hanging
Siciliano
around the
ran into
sideline
him in
this
the
week.
hotel.
Yeah.
And you knew him from the NFL Network days? Is that where you recognized him? Did you bring him in?
He came up and introduced himself to me. He's like, hey, Andrew used to work with my dad. I'm like, oh, my God, it's Cade.
Did he bring the kids around and stuff from time to time?
He did.
Yeah.
I might have met Cade years ago.
hard
I
to say,
don't remember. Anyway, I digress. To your
That's
point.
great. That's great.
But you mentioned Northern Iowa. To your point, you don't very often see this. And let's face it, in the day and age, and Kevin talked about this yesterday when he was asked about social media of 24-hour coverage in the most popular and the greatest sport there is. Guys, like, we used to have an off-season topic bar at NFL Network where we would spin a wheel and like, all right, what's the evergreen topic we can talk about today?
Yep.
There's only a handful of them, and this is one of them, and it is going to be nonstop. It is going to be, it already is, relentless.
I'm so glad that you gave that national peek behind the curtain on this, because I've tried to explain this even in the lead-up before he was a Cleveland Brown. If you are hosting Get Up, or you're hosting NFL Live, or you're hosting the Good Morning Football, and it's a day in early March and there isn't any league news, and you spin that wheel, one of the slots on that wheel is Shedeur Sanders.
There's Shedeur. There's Aaron Rodgers. There's the tush push conversation.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the top three. What else am I missing?
The one the point of it though is that Shedeur is always going to be on that wheel.
Absolutely.
He was on the wheel the entire draft process. He's going to be on the wheel all summer. He doesn't ask for any of that.
He does not.
He does not. But it's a byproduct of who he is, who his dad is, and what he's done, what he did while he was at Colorado, and what a lightning rod that he's been in the pre-draft process. And so if you get to July 10th and you're like, man, we got nothing. I mean, is Joey Chestnut back? Are we doing a hot dog contest? Like, what are we doing? Is baseball going to do anything? What do we got here? Well, we can always go to the NFL. Well, what can we go? Hey, you think Shedeur's got a shot to
Aaron
start
Rodgers,
in Cleveland?
Shedeur.
Yeah.
T.J. Watt holdout. I mean, Shamar Stewart's not going to move the needle on July 10th.
Not really even now, because you have to explain who he is. I always tell people this. Here's the beauty about the Shedeur one. You don't have to explain who he is. Everybody knows.
And the other thing, too, is I want fans to realize.
The Shamar Stewart, you'd have to start it with.
You have to explain.
17th pick, 4.5 sacks. They got Hendrickson sitting out.
Right.
It's 5 minutes of juxtaposition.
Bengals have their history of contracts and
it's
whatever.
Backstory. Shedeur, go.
So everyone is out of the building today, right?
Yeah.
You see, our coaches already out the door. Players already out the door. It's the same in all 32 buildings. There are 5 teams that don't wrap up their offseason program until next week.
Yeah.
Okay. Once you hit next Friday, there are, 32 league office, films, the network. There are 35 buildings, let's say, officially in the NFL. You cannot get a phone answered in any of those 35 beyond next Friday.
You're right.
So there is no news. Nobody is making any news, save for an unfortunate arrest or something that happens off the field, which is inevitable. It happens every summer. So Sports Talk Radio, and we're all part of this.
Yeah.
The morning shows, the 24-hour coverage on social media, they have to make stuff up. Not make up facts, not make up stories, but you are rehashing the exact same stories. There is nothing that can be said or done in the next month that will affect the Browns' quarterback competition, right? Assuming everyone stays healthy and has a nice vacation and all is happy. They will reconvene the week of July 21, and then we will actually have something to talk about.
As you watched over the last couple of days, and you fast forward and try to put yourself in a position of training camp by the time we reconvene, who are some names that you think these fans are going to love?
Guys that weren't here last year, like rookies?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the
rookies
two backs.
Or new guys or
the two backs, definitely. And I am fascinated to see how Mason Graham and Carson Swessner, because they're going to play immediately.
Yep.
I assume, unless one of them screws it up, which I highly doubt it. They're going to make plays immediately. Like to see Mason Graham in the backfield with Myles Garrett chasing Joe Burrow week 1. Like I am here for that.
Yep.
And Swessinger is going to be sideline to sideline. Maybe see him first on special teams, but he's going to work into that first team defense pretty quickly, I think, personally. I am as excited about this draft class as I have been in a long, long time. Taking the quarterbacks out of the equation.
Yep.
Like, you will have guys that will contribute immediately. And look, they have to, especially in the backfield.
Yeah.
Jerome Ford is now the veteran in that room, heading into year number 4. Jerome Ford, by the way, only Derrick Henry and Jahmyr Gibbs and Saquon Barkley had a better per-carry average last year than Jerome Ford. I know that sounds stunning. He only had like 105 carries. Jerome Ford made some plays last year, but he now has to be the veteran leader in that room. So I'm curious to see how that goes. But, yeah, just turn on the YouTube highlights of those two running backs and everything that we just said about the O-line and how they're going to get back to punching people in the face on the O-line. Dylan Sampson rarely was touched getting through the line in that Tennessee offense. Like, hard to evaluate wide receivers in that offense. I would argue it's hard to evaluate a running back as well.
Yeah.
But when he did get hit, he had some nice spin moves. He had some good power. If this offensive line can open up holes for those two backs, look out.
Yeah. Needless to say, like, him not being able to participate fully in the playoff game against Ohio State contributed greatly to. I'm not sure that there was anything stopping the Buckeyes, but not having him in whole was a big problem.
Taking a 22 touchdown guy out of the lineup, that matters?
Yeah, that was a big one. I did a film study last night with AB, and he pulled up, the first film he pulled up was Schlesinger. And I've told like my boys, and we got one neighbor kid especially in my oldest grade who just is born to play linebacker. And they were at the house last night, and I said, I'm going to tell you right now, you're going to want a 49 Browns jersey.
Yeah.
And he's like 49? Come on, that number sucks. And I'm like, watch. I want you, and he's a student of the game. I said, I want you to watch, pull it up on YouTube, watch the tape.
Cool again.
This dude, this is such a. I'm going to do it. It's
Who
hyperbolic.
Who has ever worn 49?
Dude, I think it's the.
I'm going to Google that. Go.
So my kid was issued 46 once in like fourth grade football, and I was like, best I can do is Tim McDonald and Todd Christensen. If he was issued 49, I don't think I have anything. I think it might be the hardest.
NFL.
I think 49 might be the toughest.
So
I think
when
Tremaine Edmonds
Schlesinger
wore
came in here
49
the
on the
day
Bills.
after the draft.
Tremaine Edmonds?
Tremaine Edmonds.
Okay.
Okay, great.
Yeah, it's tough.
Who got drafted at like 14 by the Bills, right? Something like that. When Schlesinger came in here the day after the draft with Judkins and everyone else, sat down with him, and we got to the jersey thing. And I said, are you going to keep 49?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. And he didn't say yes, he didn't say no, but it certainly sounded like he was leaning in that direction. And I think I kind of said the same thing. Like, don't you want, like, come on. Like,
Well, tell the people why he had it. He was a
50,
walk-on.
Right. Exactly.
Last guy to pick.
A 50, a 90. And I said to him.
Single digit,
we
teens,
had
20s.
Exactly. This same
Yeah.
conversation. I go, has there ever been, I don't know that there's ever been a great 49. And he came back with a very calm and confident, well, that just means no one ever good is. Like, that just means that I'm going to, what was the line he said? Basically, well, I'm going to make that happen.
Yeah,
I'm going to be the
right.
first great one to make that happen.
I'm going to go about changing
I'm
that.
going to go about changing that. Thank you.
And
I blew the landing there.
No,
But you
no,
know
no,
what I'm
I-
saying.
we all knew
he
where
had
you
a
were.
very confident, well, I'm going to change that.
you're on the East Coast. This isn't even your time zone.
I'm fine. We're good.
When do you fly?
I can make my flight now. We're good.
I'm watching the tape with AB.
I show up late. Anyway, yeah.
I'm watching the tape with AB last night and watching it with some corporate partners and some suite holders and stuff. And I hate even doing this, but in terms of his instinct and ability to cover ground, there's a little Kuechly to him.
Yeah.
There's a little Kuechly. I mean, he flies. He had a video of him. They're playing cover 3. He's dropping into his zone. Quarterback's eyes are on this in this hash, and then college, of course, they're wider. The quarterback's eyes are on this hash. He's shading here. Quarterback quickly comes back down the other hash. He gets there for an interception. He covers ground like you can't believe, and he's a lot bigger than I think people realize he is. There's another one that he had where he's in that old school Tampa 2, Derek Brooks, get your butt deep as fast as you can, turn and sprint, and he runs with a slot receiver from USC, step for step the entire way and breaks it down 35 yards downfield. There's an athleticism to him that is going to explode off with your eyes if you're somebody who's at camp.
I know there were Browns fans and people around the league who were somewhat surprised that he went at 33. Remember, they had 36 as well. Quinshon was 36. They were fairly certain he was not going to get to 36.
Yep.
There were plenty of other teams that had an eye on him. And people want to say, well, like, wait a minute, like, why did he walk on and really didn't play a lot until his last year there? Why is that? I don't care.
Doesn't matter.
I don't care. I don't care. Just turn on the tape, to your point.
Yeah. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, I can't wait. This is as exciting.
No,
as
I
for a
want
training
to
camp
wait
in a long
though.
time.
I don't want to rush it because we'll be.
I want my time off.
Yeah.
You want your time off.
I'd like some time off.
Yeah, no.
Like a little
I'm
breather.
good. I'm good with that.
Yeah. To your point, there is going to be a joy to this training camp because of all of the things that we've been talking about. It's going to be palpable. You're going to be able to feel it when you're out there.
I'm ready.
And there's a lot of fun guys. It's good seeing you, buddy.
Likewise.
Fly safe.
Thank you.
And enjoy your summer. I won't see you again probably until
See you
July.
in a month.
So.
You enjoy your summer.
Oh, God, month?
A month. It's a month.
I want it to be like I'll see you, and I love seeing you, but I like more like I'll see you in 3 months. No. We'll be back here in a month doing this all over again.
Are you like Costner when you're back in Montana? Do you like put your arm up on the fence and just stare
Into
at the
distance.
horizon?
Yeah, sucking down a yellow jacket.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you that guy?
Yeah.
Right.
I try to be. Yeah, that's where I am.
Okay, do you have like a sister who emasculates the brother in every episode, and there's inevitably a fight?
And my dad.
Okay,
we don't murder people and bury them.
Got it. No one gets sent
that
to
you need to know about.
No one gets sent
no
to the train station.
No.
Okay.
Montana does not have the murder rate of Bogota, Colombia in
Okay.
1987
Good to know.
either. So there's that.
I've only been there once, but I survived.
You got through alive.
Okay.
Yeah. No, a little different tone.
Avoid the bears.
Yeah, just listen. It's not a zoo.
It isn't.
It's not a zoo.
Grizzlies are not friendly.
No.
No. Brown bears, black bears, maybe. Grizzlies,
you don't need that selfie.
No.
Don't need it.
Oh no.
Go the other way.
It'll kill you and then take its own selfie.
Good to see you, brother.
Goodbye.
As always. It is a mailbag Thursday. Get your questions into us at Browns_daily. We'll get to those in the second hour of the program. I should also mention, add more fun to your fandom with the Ballybet Sportsbook app. Download today. Get 50 back in bonus bets. You place that first wager of 10 or more. Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Second hour coming up next. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. It's presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of your Cleveland Browns. Elk and Elk Serious Lawyers, Serious Injuries. Call 1-800-ELK-OHIO for a free case review. Elk and Elk's proud partner of your Cleveland Browns. Time to head to the podium, presented by Vivid Seats. Purchase your official fan experience package today for the ultimate game day. Here is new Browns wide receiver Deontay Johnson.
You're down 8 minutes.
To the Browns, but just wondering, what kind of mind frame are you in with this opportunity, knowing that you had sort of a turbulent 2024? Where's your head at right now, I guess?
I'm thankful, just to get another opportunity to be here. That's one day at a time. Control what I control, make the most of my opportunities, and that's how it is for me right now.
How would you describe last year?
Last year is last year. I'm just worried about this year.
What were your conversations like with Andrew Berry and Stefanski when you were deciding whether or not to sign here and they were deciding whether or not to sign you?
Really just what I bring to the table, like how I'm gonna move forward and stuff like that. And I feel like I'm doing the right things right now, just moving forward.
How much it will be to get back to that form when you were really playing so well for the Steelers?
I'm still in that form. It's just a matter whenever I get my opportunities, and be able to put it on film.
How many conversations have you had with Kenny before you signed here and since you signed here? What has he meant to kind of your transition here? I
feel like he was probably a part of me coming here and whatnot, and just like our relationship go back to Pittsburgh. We got a good relationship, and we probably haven't talked like we did before, but when he reached out or whatever, it was like what we picked up off that.
Were the Browns the only team that you looked at coming?
Yeah, that was really the only team that hit me up.
What can you do for this football team? Obviously, we have watched you play for so many years. What do you feel like you can do here for the Cleveland Browns?
Just another weapon to the receiver room, offense. Make plays. Can be a help to the younger guys and stuff like that. Really just trying to be myself. Get back to where I left at, like I say, make the most of my opportunities whenever they come. Put it on film. That's really my main focus.
Is there a reason you weren't here for OTAs?
I had a coach about that, so we all good.
Okay. Deontay, I know you haven't had much time yet with Jerry, but just what do you think of his game and playing alongside him, how you guys might be able to complement one another?
He's nice. Just him to be able to beat man covers, get open in his zone. I'm familiar with Jerry, so he's from Florida too, so, but like I say, he's a weapon, to have a good guy to have on the other side, and whoever's on the opposite side, whether it's me or whoever it is, gives them a chance to, get one-on-one opportunities and stuff like that. So, like I said, that's what, he brings to the table.
I know you said last year was last year.
Yeah.
I think it's the first time we've spoken since the end of the season.
Yeah.
You feel like there's maybe a misunderstanding of the way things went down?
For sure. I don't like to speak on a lot of stuff, so I just, everybody gonna have their opinions, So at the end of the day, I'm the only one in that room and really know what be going on, so I can only, everybody, like I say, they entitled to their own opinion, so I can only go off of what I know and then try to go off what I, can put out there, like in my best effort. But like I said, last year is last year. I'm trying to change that narrative and, move the right way and just keep going, bro.
With your route running ability and Jerry's route running ability, it seems like you guys are kind of on an even playing field with each other with your elite route running ability.
Yeah.
So what's it going to be like for a quarterback to have both of you guys getting that kind of separation and running those kind of routes together?
Please pick your poison, who you want to go to or whatnot. So just getting open, really, we're going to determine that for the quarterback.
Were you surprised that no other team reached out to you?
It's NFL, it's the business. I don't have no control over that. The Browns called, and I'm happy to be here, and that's all I'm worried about.
Other than them calling, was there something else attractive about this team? Because you played.
I know the AB liked me coming out during the draft and stuff like that, so that's one of the things he mentioned to me. So I just.
Yeah, it's important for any receiver to establish rapport with the quarterback. When you have 4 quarterbacks and there's so much movement, how do you go about trying to create rapport with any of them or all of them?
Whenever routes on there 7-on-7, when you got here to practice and stuff, it's really football. You know what I'm saying? Whoever at quarterback, I just throw and catch. It ain't time. I don't feel like the time and stuff don't bother me because whoever gonna throw the ball, I'm gonna catch it once it's in the vicinity or something like that. So
Not any harder with the
Yeah,
Difference in the timing?
nah, it's just catch the ball if it comes your way.
So two of your former teams, Pittsburgh and Baltimore, we're going to play them twice a year. Will those be?
You know it. yeah, you know it. I'm looking forward to them for sure.
Given just how some emotions the last couple of years worked for you,
Say it again?
just how the last couple of years have gone for you, do you feel like you came away like learning anything about yourself?
It's one bad year. It's one year. I had 5 great seasons in Pittsburgh. It's 1 year. That don't define me as a player or none of that. My character, none of that. So, like I say, everybody gonna say what they want to say about me, but I know who I am as a person deep down, and that's all that matters to me. So,
Do you feel like you have anything to prove yourself or the league coming up in
just be myself. Prove everybody wrong. That's my mindset. Keep going. Don't worry about the outside noise. Worry about what goes on in between these gates. That's
I
it.
guess when you talk about that stuff and changing the narrative and controlling what you can control, I guess, what does that look like for you? Is it just going out on the field and performing?
Just play instead of just thinking about all the other stuff. Just play. When it made the most of my opportunities. When I get in, cheer my teammates on, be a great teammate, stuff like that.
So given the fact that you don't feel like this was anything but just an off year for you, just one weird year, I'm guessing then that you're not taking any extra steps or measures to try to make sure that you have a good year and that some of those types of things don't follow you into the season.
I mean, you talking about me not being here or something?
Yeah, no. I just mean, do you feel like, is there anything that you have to do to keep, your head on straight and make sure that this goes
just
right?
come in here with a great attitude, you know what I'm saying? Be a great teammate, you know what I'm saying? Be on time to stuff, do what I got to do, and like I say, the rest going to take care of itself. Football is football at the end of the day. Once we get in between the lines, that's all it's about.
After tomorrow, you will have had 3 practices with this team. Is there catching up to do before you come back to training?
I was here actually a week before that too, so it's not just them 3. Okay. So yeah, but
you caught up?
I got a good relationship with Deshaun Watson, Kenny Pickett. So like Shador, like just if I need a question with something, I can always call or whatever it is. Like it's not like I don't know what I'm doing. Like I just got the playbook and stuff like that, and I can study at home. So I'm on top of my stuff too. So.
I'm going to do Jory and Cam.
How did you build the relationship with Shador and with Deshaun? Is that just from being here?
Just being around a little bit, just respect, you know what I'm saying? Just him seeing me in the league a little bit, I know what he do and stuff like that, so just look, stuff like that.
Obviously, you guys are winning in this portion of this, but for you, just getting in here and being able to work with the team, what's the most important thing for you to get out of this as you enter that break and then obviously training here right ahead?
I'm just, like I said, be here, you know what I'm saying? Do what I'm told, you know what I'm saying? Do my job, my assignment, and just execute. That's all there is to it.
Will you work with Kenny and any of Jerry or any of those guys in the offseason?
Everybody do their own thing, so it depends on what everybody got going on at the time. But I'm sure we'll catch up at some time or whatever.
Where do you go back?
Last one.
Tampa. That's where I'll be at. Yep.
All right, there you go. If Deontay can get back to what he was last year in Carolina, look out.
Look, at this point, it's Jerry Jeudy in a room of everybody else.
Hey, Tillman was he a full participant today, or what did you make of what you saw?
He was in a little bit here and there. I mean, he was in some of the 11-on-11 stuff, so I guess I would call him full. Same with Mike Woods.
Yeah.
But not really.
Not really.
It was – I was kind of surprised they went 11-on-11 and 7-on-7. Normally, day 3, you're kind of going through some position drills, and then you're moving on from there.
I think it's because they need the reps.
Well,
I think those quarterbacks need the
Shador
reps.
Really didn't get any reps in 11-on-11 or 7-on-7 until the last 15 minutes of practice.
Yeah.
He didn't see the field.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I get it. You're hoping Ced Tillman's the number 2. You really are.
That would be ideal.
I mean,
hopefully he is the number 2 and leaves no doubt that he's the number 2.
I would like that very much at this
You know
point.
what I mean? Like the pedigree's there, the frame's there, the talent's there.
Yes.
It just needs to be healthy and be on the field, and if it is, then you feel like there's a good chance that indeed could be the case.
You've got Deontay. Thrash clearly put on some weight. He had a good week and looked like a much different wide receiver this year. Maybe he can establish himself. You have a host of other guys.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
I
but
don't know.
him and Deontay they're the 2 that if it clicks, if we're healthy and it clicks, then this receiver room could look very capable. There's a ceiling on some of the other guys, but on those two guys, there's a little bit of a higher ceiling. And so, like, if they can go, then you've got some real weapons on the outside.
Yeah, and you're going to need them. I know we talked about lining up wide receivers out and Sampson out at wide receiver a little bit, or putting him on the outside, but you need some dudes outside that are going to make that defense not put 8 or 9 in the box.
100%. 100% right. We'll go around the sports world. NFL minicamp news wrapping up for most of the teams around the league. We'll get you updated on that. The U.S. Open is underway over at Oakmont. Have a little fun with that as well. It is a mailbag edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. Ask CBD at Browns_Daily, and we will get to those coming up at 2:30 on the program. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Ballybet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. Browns fan single game tickets are on sale now. Secure your seats today for the top matchups at Huntington Bank Field during the 2025 season. Don't wait. Head to browns.com/tickets now for more. Aaron Rodgers throwing the ball around in Pittsburgh, but kind of the news of the day in the NFL, it's actually the top headline on ESPN.com right now, is that Shamar Stewart left Bengals camp. Just left. Now, I don't blame him. He's not under contract. There are no guarantees if he were to get hurt, and knowing that organization, they probably also wouldn't pay him if he did.
Correct.
This is an absolutely, completely avoidable mess. I'm glad it's happening to them.
Yep.
But it's a crazy thing to allow this to happen. This is the 17th pick in the draft. He is on the record as saying, just give me what you gave the guy who you picked 18 last year. That's all he wants.
That's it.
The same contract.
Why? Trying to save a nickel. Nickel and diming a top draft pick. That goes well. By the way, there's a salary cap.
It's structured.
For rookies. There's a structure.
It's about the guarantees. Florio actually gave a pretty good, I read this morning, and it was probably the best synopsis. It's a lose for both sides. There's no question. I mean, and Zach Taylor said not going to make any predictions on Shamar Stewart. It got very contentious. It got quite honestly pretty silly. Florio, I'm going to read this to you. This kind of gives you an idea of the details here around it, and this is pretty straightforward. The issue comes down to that one term in the contract. The Bengals are trying to change their usual language regarding the voiding of guarantees to extend the consequences of a default in the contract year to all future years. So they're trying to minimize what's guaranteed in the deal. Stewart doesn't believe he should have contract language any different than the player the Browns took in the first round last year, tackle Amarius Mims, especially since Stewart was drafted higher than Mims. Now, Stewart's camp is saying he just didn't want to be a distraction anymore, and that's why he left, which there could be some truth to that as well. But this is an organization that should be doing cartwheels. They got Burrow done 2 years ago. They got Chase. They kept Higgins. They're all done. I think the Hendrickson thing will work itself out in short order. And now there's this. And they need – this is a guy who had 4.5 sacks in his career at Texas A&M. He needs reps. He's a raw talent. He needs reps. He needs to play. And you blew it, boy. You blew it. And it's absolutely silly. It's an esoteric clause that they're trying to change on for the point of being different, I guess.
I don't understand. I just follow the blueprint. The blueprint is laid out for you.
Yeah.
Like, is it because they're paying all these other – because of all the contracts they've had to dole out this offseason?
Yeah.
The extensions? I mean,
it
that
just
all of a
strikes
sudden
you
they
as
don't have anything?
something that they would do. It's a uniquely Bengals issue. It's like the Chargers would do this. There's like a couple organizations that behave this way. Everybody else would never allow this to go this way.
No.
Never. With a first-round pick, 17th overall. It's just
by the way,
silly.
He's on defense, and currently they don't really have a defense because the premier player on their defense, who also led the NFL in sacks, is also not at mandatory minicamp.
Yeah, I think that one is not as big of a thing or not a thing. I don't think that's a thing right now.
It's not a thing till training camp.
It's a thing next season. Like, prove your point, whatever. This is a thing, though. Like, this is a rookie who should have spent the last month getting locked in to – I mean, it's a new defensive system they're teaching. It's Al Golden. It's not Lou Anarumo. So it's a whole new system that's being taught.
Didn't he set out rookie minicamp, didn't he?
Yeah, he's done – yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's crazy.
I mean, the stupidity of it all, but that's the Northern Kentucky Bengals for you.
It really is. How cool was it to wake up and turn on the U.S. Open?
Unfortunately, I had a lot going on this morning.
Dude, it was on at 7 a.m.
I know. It was.
I prepped my Columbus show, and then I'm like, oh, I got a couple of minutes. It was on USA at 7 a.m.
Yeah. It's on till 5 o'clock today, I think. And then
awesome.
It's on Peacock the rest of the day.
It was awesome. And I had some fun with it this morning and said, gosh, I mean, this Oakmont, big bad Oakmont. It's playing like a muni. Like we got guys 4 under on their front 9. I McIlroy birdied 2 of his first 3 and had a birdie putt on 1 that would have been, which was his 10th, would have got him to 3 under. I'm like, they're making a mockery of this place. And then it's kind of responded with vigor throughout the rest of the day, and I saw that Rory ended up 4 over, like just blew up on the back. It was the front, but it was his back. I don't understand how in the hell J.J. Spawn got out of there with a 66. Like, carded a 66. He has a one-shot lead over Tristan Lawrence, who's 3 under heading to his last hole through 18. Woo Kim that's a 68. He's in with a 68. Ben Griffin, who was a runner-up at Memorial a couple of weeks ago, he is at 69, so he's kind of in the mix as well. And then there's a host of guys that are out there. Most of the big names that you know have struggled so far. Now, Scotty just started. I think he's only 3 in, and he's even.
Yep.
Through the very beginning of his round, Morikawa is playing with Scotty. He's even as well. So there's some of those guys. But DeChambeau was out early. Dustin Johnson was out. He's a late guy.
DeChambeau finished 3 over.
Yeah.
Oberg
played most of the day in the red, and then all of a sudden finished up at 2 over. So something must have happened, because oh my God. So his back nine, which was the front, is the same thing that happened to Rory. So he went bogey, par, birdie, par, bogey, bogey, par, bogey, bogey on the front 9, which was his back 9.
Gibbs golf right there. Just add another stroke, probably double bogey these days.
I'd definitely have 1 double and a triple at that point. Schauffele 2 over, DeChambeau 3 over, I think, as you mentioned. Rory ended up at 4. So that's kind of where you stand.
Some
Rory
of the big
made
names
a
are
mess.
out right now. Morikawa and Scotty Scheffler are playing together, I believe.
They are, yep. Rory was 2 under on his front, which was the back, and then he was 6 over on the back, on the front, his back.
Interesting name to watch that we haven't heard from in a while. Brooks Koepka is 2 under through 4.
Did he just eagle something? Because he was even.
I can tell you he did. He eagled 4.
Okay, I was going to say, because
there's a big deal.
Yeah, because he went from, because he was even just as I was going through those. He was even. So he eagled, the par 5 4th.
Yeah, with a 3.
Yeah.
I mean, so it was interesting this morning. I was listening. I had it on the car driving because they have play-by-play, and I'm always fascinated with how they're able to do that. And I'm listening, and they had an expert on, and the expert was basically like, look, here's how this is going to go today. If these guys tear this course up today, tomorrow will be a complete bloodbath because they know they have rain coming Saturday, because Saturday here is supposed to be
Is it still garbage?
A steady rain evolving into a lot more as the day goes on. Saturday could be a wash. So basically they're going, we're going to make Friday impossible with the pin placements and everything if people have a field day with this today. So I'm not sure, but
oh my God,
the weather forecast not great for Saturday. Sunday looks okay. It recovers for Father's Day, but the fact that I just watched Scheffler hit out of the rough, and he was literally in the first cut, and you couldn't see the ball from overhead.
No. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. They're going to get bombed by rains really starting tomorrow over there. Partly sunny, humid, couple showers, and a thunderstorm in the afternoon. And then Saturday is times of cloud and sun, couple of showers, thunderstorm, humid. There can be ponding on roadways for Saturday.
Oh, perfect.
And then Sunday, cloudy, humid, couple of showers, thunderstorm, mainly later. There can be ponding on roadways. They're expecting a lot of rain over there. So you're exactly right. That's what I'm saying. Like, this dude karting a 66, that's a hell of a start.
Yeah.
He's going to be tough to – I mean, the wheels are going to have to completely come off. Like, that's great.
Which I think can happen.
For sure. In at 66. Do you like – what would you do if you were a member there?
I wouldn't be.
Yeah, but you would be because it's Oakmont, and if they offered it to you, you'd take it because
okay,
you know what? And when your buddies came to town, and I know how much you love Pittsburgh and the Lehigh Valley and all of that you
everybody got jokes today.
You got but like people come in to visit, like you would be but like it's got to be just a brute. It can't be any fun at all. You'd have to approach it like, well, I'm going to shoot 10 worse than I normally do.
So is this how it is year? It's not like the Memorial, because the Memorial gets a little better, does it?
The Memorial
not?
amps it up, but it's still an impossible course if you're not a real golfer. It's there's never a point where like you're always appreciative of it, but if you're a high handicapper and like I am,
it's a long day.
It's a long day, man. It really sucks the life out of you. And that place is worse. So now they have the rough at 5 inches, and normally it's at 2.5. But the other thing that's pretty weird about it is like obviously there's not a tree on it.
No.
Anymore. I mean, there was 30 years ago. There were trees. They took out 50,000 trees or whatever, and now there literally 76 runs through it. Interstate 76 runs through it.
Walkways over the highway.
Yeah, I mean when we've gone to Nemacolin before, and you drive right between it. I mean that's the road we take, and you drive right through it. So like. You don't really have like that intimate golf experience that I think we're normally, and this is becoming more and more as people take down trees all over in all these courses. But it's got to be so weird to like struggle and have people right next to you on the fairway struggling alongside you. Like most golfers suck.
Yeah,
they really do. Like
100%.
I tell the guys, the boys that all the time. I'm like, if I'm finding a ball, if I find 3 balls where mine is, that means a lot of people suck like I do. And that's kind of the way that is. So I don't know what that would be like, but I imagine it would be very. And I know like Congressional just did this recently. Like when you take out all the trees, and you're used to like the look, even if it's healthy for the course, it takes a lot to get used to. To go from what's now like a link style.
Again, as a member, how do you have fun at that?
I don't know. I had no names, please. I got a buddy of mine who's a member at Muirfield Village, and he says, and that course is stunning. But he said. Honestly, like if I just want to have fun, I go play country club what is it? Muirfield Country Club, which is right across the street, and it's much more like
enjoyable,
loose and enjoyable. Yeah,
yeah. You play Muirfield for the experience. To have fun, you need to probably go somewhere else.
And I don't know. My hunch is Oakmont is like Muirfield in that you can't take a cart.
Probably.
Like you can get a special dispensation to take a cart at Muirfield, but by and large you can't. You have to walk. So like. I don't know what that's like. I mean, the other thing that appears to me that there are a couple of times they would show like a guy like down on a green, like looking back up one, you're like, oh my God, that's a huge hill. It doesn't look it on television until you get that down low and up perspective. But man, you're right. With that rain coming.
Now it'll be fascinating because how they get the rough, I saw something online about it, that they literally like, they have this mower that's on souped-up wheels, and it's also a blower, so it literally blows the grass. So the grass is standing up when they cut it to get it to that 5 inches, and it is straight up the entire time.
The guy, Golf Channel Wednesday, they did a great story about how they did that with the rough, and they said you can't just – they had the superintendent on. He said you can't just grow it to 5 inches and not cut it because then the tops are wispy. And what they want is that thickness – that's at 2.5 at 5. So you have to keep cutting it and slowly build it up so that what you're cutting off is the wispy part.
Yeah.
And that it's all thick all the way through. And that's how you lose it. That's how the ball you hit it in the rough and it's gone. Some of those bunkers look insane too. There was one Rory was hitting out of where he couldn't even see where he was hitting. He was up against a wall. You couldn't even see. Lost.
Like you're going backwards. Just hit it the other way.
It was fun. It was really fun though to wake up and watch it. It was cool.
I look forward to that tomorrow. Today was like last day.
Yeah.
We got to get people through. We got interviews.
Mm-hmm.
We have so much sound we'll play over the next few weeks as we go, and it was kind of a crazy morning, but in a good way. And this team got some great work in, and I look forward for the weekend to watching some of this, especially tomorrow.
Well, yeah, we might not have anything else. It's going to rain all day.
Correct.
I don't know if I can do it. You might not see me Monday. If it just rains all weekend,
we got 3
Father's
days
Day
next
weekend.
week.
Come on, dude.
And then
it's
you're on
June.
vacation.
It's June.
It's
enough.
It's
enough.
It's getting ridiculous.
Fine, give me a thunderstorm. Fine. I don't need all day.
I'm able to grow grass right now.
Yeah.
That shouldn't happen in June.
No.
Like, I got some spots I had to do. My wife's like, let's do it. I'm like, it's summer. Like, not the greatest time to do this. Growing, it's thriving.
Sure. 68 degrees and rain.
Yeah, in the 50s at night. Yeah, great. Who gets hurt? Me.
That's it, just you.
That's right.
It's a mailbag edition of Cleveland Browns Daily. Still time to get your questions into Gibbe at Browns_Daily on the X platform. Ask CBD, your hashtag on that. We will do that coming up next. You'll listen to Cleveland Browns Daily. We're presented by Bally Bet, official sports betting partner of Cleveland Browns on 850 ESPN Cleveland. And we've got some breaking news for Cleveland Browns Daily fans. Cleveland Browns legend Josh Cribbs, three-time Pro Bowl corner Joe Hayden are going to go to London this season. Want to know how you can hang out with Josh and Joe across the pond? The only way to do so through the Browns takeovers powered by True Fan Travel. V&B packages are available, which include a welcome party on the Thames, a double-decker bus tour of London, a 5-night hotel stay, an ultimate tailgate party, pep rally, and more. Head to browns.com/takeovers for more on that. It is time now to open up that mailbag. Send your questions to Gibbe at Browns_Daily. You can also ask him in the YouTube chat as well. If you're watching on the stream, you can ask him in the YouTube chat. Dr. J will get him to Gibbe on that side of things.
Perfect.
Hello, Gibbe.
Yeah, for those people that wonder if we read them or if we're paying attention, we do get entertained sometimes by some of the comments.
That's right.
Real quick, a little bit of news. Schefter about 20 minutes ago on McAfee. Quote, I have questions about whether or not Anthony Richardson will be ready for the start of training camp.
No kidding. You don't say.
Well, how about that?
Yeah.
It's not ideal.
Yeah, it's a tough spot.
Yeah, not great. Not great for the Colts.
I think they signed Danny Dimes, and I think that's where they're at.
Yeah.
I was skeptical of drafting him to begin with just because he played so little at Florida. It's so hard when you just don't have snaps, and he just doesn't have many snaps. You fall in love with the physical stuff, though, you know?
Yeah, exactly. You can tweet your questions to us, as Bo said, at Browns_daily. Joe tweets at us, fellas, a track that is fun while also being challenging is the lakes out in my neck of the woods. That invite I gave a while back is still open.
The lakes down in Columbus?
Out in Warren. I believe, is that that little resort, that resort out in Warren?
The lakes.
I believe so, yes.
It's where the Corey Stringer golf outing used to be, if I remember.
Lakes golf. So the only one I know of, I've played the one down in Columbus, which is the Lakes, which is awesome. They modeled their clubhouse after Augusta, so it looks just like Augusta.
Really,
with the Lakes in Columbus. Yeah, it's awesome.
Okay,
really cool.
It's Avalon Lakes Golf Course and Country Club. Yeah,
okay.
It's part of. I will say this.
Is that called the Grand or something? Is that what that is?
It's pretty awesome. Like their pool looks like a Greek temple, except it's outdoor. And
it
you're like,
looks like the Hearst Mansion. Pool at the Hearst Mansion is what it looks like. Yeah.
Yeah. Very, very cool
Lakes.
place. I've
cool.
had some friends go there. My wife and I went there for an overnight, had dinner. There's like 4 different restaurants you can go to and places. It's recommended. I would recommend it.
Yeah, that's cool.
Very, very cool.
Well, thank you.
I appreciate the request. Mr. Camtastic.
Yep.
Given today's context, how crazy was it for Maverick to show up to the good doctor's house late for a date, covered in sweat after beach volleyball, and then request to shower?
I think it's one of the chestiest displays that you could ever have for a first. There are so many questions. Why is he playing beach volleyball before a date? Why is he playing beach volleyball in his jeans without a shirt on before a date?
It's hot.
Why?
I don't
Why is he not in shorts?
Yeah.
Why is he even playing beach volleyball in front of a crowd? It's just 4 random dudes, and there's a crowd watching it like it's the AVP tour. And then, to show up at the house and say, hey, do you mind if I take a shower? Yes, I do mind. That's a very reasonable response from her to say that.
For a first date.
Absolutely. For a 10th date, like to show, hey, can I take a shower? What? What are you talking about? Come over ready. This was the time. We're having the date. I made a salad. Let's go. But I will echo the words of the great former Undersecretary of the United States Navy and great friend of the program, Tom Odley. It's
Hi,
a movie,
sir.
Bo.
It's a movie. That's right.
When I gave him, the boys had like 6 questions about Maverick, Top Gun Maverick, and I was like, about this Mach 10, about this, and it's a movie, Bo. Okay. I got you, sir.
Alfonso Taylor tweets at the show, who's the better golfer between the two of you guys?
Gibby.
I don't know about that.
I think you would be. You play a lot more than I've played.
Doesn't mean I'm good.
I've played last weekend. NBC and I played 18, and I think I shot 96. So that's what you're dealing with.
We're probably
that's
the
where I'm
same.
at.
I mean,
that's where I'm at.
on 18 holes, I can shoot anywhere from 90 to like 102.
Yeah, it just depends.
If I'm playing enough, I can maybe get into the mid to upper 80s, but that does not happen often. And about the time I get there, training camp starts and I'm done for the year playing golf, which sucks.
I also think like I've reached, and I understand, I'm very well aware that my kids are going to be on a different track than I am, but I've come to the realization that like there's no amount of training where I could ever break 80. Like, that's just never going to happen. I've shot mid-80s before when I used to play a lot. I would be in the mid-80s a lot, was kind of where I lived. But I don't play enough anymore to ever get to that point again. I don't know if I ever will. So that's the realization. But I still love it, and I'm with the boys, so it's a win.
So I'm trying to figure out. Mel Brooks tweeted today, I told you we'd be back. Richie Fox tweets at us, thoughts on news of a confirmed sequel for Spaceballs.
I don't have any – I have no idea about that. Mel Brooks is still – is Mel Brooks doing it? He's still around? Is Mel Brooks still alive?
Around.
He's like 100?
I have confirmation. I'm watching a video.
There's a new Spaceballs?
Spaceballs 2.
What?
2027, guys.
Kev, what can you tell me about it?
The Schwartz
I don't know.
Awakens.
I just love like the little teaser, and I love how Mel Brooks at the end says, you know, we asked what the fans wanted, and we just decided to do this anyways.
All right. This just popped an hour ago. Do I have that right? Like,
Yeah.
this is all in the last hour? Okay.
Richie, appreciate the heads up, man.
All right.
I didn't
all
know
right.
this was even in the works. I mean, Spaceballs is
38
have you
years
guys ever
ago
seen Spaceballs? Jordan's seen it. Brock has.
There was only one Star Wars trilogy, but since then there have been a prequel trilogy, a sequel trilogy, a sequel to the prequel, a prequel to the sequel, countless TV spin-offs, a movie spin-off of the TV spin-off, both a prequel and a sequel, not to mention 2 Dunes, 7 Jurassic Parks, 2 Avatars, plus 3 upcoming Avatars, making 5 Avatars, 36 MCU movies with 2 different Robert Downey Jr.'s, DCU attempt number 1, DCU attempt number 2, an animated Lion King, a live-action Lion King, a live-action animated Lion King. This is unreal.
Dude,
8 Harry Potters, a TV series remaking the same 8 Harry Potter movies, a whole streaming service of Star Wars. Oh my God, it just goes on and on and on. This is incredible. It goes on and then finally at the end. But in 38 years, there's only ever been one Spaceballs. Oh, baby. Until now, and it's Mel Brooks in a Spaceballs. Oh, that's spectacular. My kids love Spaceballs. It holds up.
It 100% it does.
Yeah.
I'm fascinated. Like, I have so many questions. Who would play what? I mean, how does that even work?
Hard to know where to even begin with that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Yeah, that's
all I
awesome.
can say.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Here's one from Browntown. When will Shedeur get first team reps? He's been great since the start. Has a 77% completion percentage. He needs to be in the.
What?
We got to blame Chops for this. 77% completion.
Don't lump me in with any of that.
I'm putting it all on Chops. Yes, he has, but I just would tell you to read 2 things, Browntown Opulence. Read the story Mary Kay did at Cleveland.com on Monday, and we had her on earlier in this week. Listen to what we're telling you on this show, because we're giving you the real truth. By the way, Chop, the numbers he's putting out, they're accurate numbers. That's not what it's about. It's just void of context. And I know that they've all talked about that as well. And then read the piece in Yahoo this week. There's a piece in Yahoo this week as well.
Yeah, they had one of their people out.
Yeah, the rookie Shedeur is just at a different point in his growth than Kenny Pickett would be, and then that Dylan Gabriel is at, and certainly Joe. And so they're just kind of all learning this on different levels is kind of where it is at this moment. So when he's gotten his reps, he's looked good, but it's a little bit of a different process.
Got to work your way up.
Yeah,
like just patience. This is a process, and reminder, sometimes when you have 75% or 77% completion percentage, maybe it's not against the first team or the second team.
Yes, of course.
So,
yeah.
Reminder, like, let's manage the expectations. We're working through it. He's getting better by the day. He looked good in the reps he got today. Make the most of the reps you get when you get them.
And he's fully on board with all of this.
100%.
Fully on board with how
I was going to say, you were with him last night.
I was,
so.
yeah. Spaceballs 2 officially happening. Rick Moranis is in. Rick Moranis hasn't done anything in like 30 years.
No.
Been a long time. That's great. That makes my Thursday. It makes me almost forget about all the rain all weekend. So much more to come. You listen to Cleveland Browns Daily on 850 ESPN Cleveland. So just you and I'll be here, and I mean like in the whole building tomorrow.
I feel like that
Us
is
two
a
and Swag.
very strong possibility. I mean,
Dr. J will be here. Brock will be here.
Brock was like, I just saw like people leaving with
Yeah.
like suitcases and bags and boxes, like the world's ending. Like I think those guys, I think they're doing some renovation work over in the football side too.
Yeah.
But like the number of people carrying things out.
Yeah,
I
it's
mean,
over.
it's just like grab what you can and go.
It is a
We'll see you
school's out
in-
for the summer vibe for sure.
I mean, they're probably.
30.
Maybe
30.
July 21st.
I'm going to tell you this. Wyatt Teller's car with his lovely wife was packed to the gills. My hunch is they're in West Virginia.
Country
by now.
roads.
They're country roads. Take me home. That's where he is.
There will be a Greenbrier.
Yeah. The next level is coming up next. Thanks for listening, everybody. Cleveland Runs Daily, 850 ESPN Cleveland.